Welcome to My State Bank Arena for a crucial clash in round 9 of Suncorp Super Netball. They all are at the moment. Both these teams off a loss as the Firebirds come out onto the court. Firebirds losing to the Vixens last week by 2. And the Magpies dropping that fourth quarter to lose to the Fever by 5. But both teams very much in finals contention, and you'd think, Sharon, Finn and White, that there are around 5 teams who have 2 slots that they could occupy if indeed the Vixens and the Fever don't completely lose the rest of the season, and these 2 teams are very much part of that group.
Oh, you're right, Will. It's anyone's game, isn't it? We've never seen the Suncorp Super Netball ladder so close before that one game can make the difference between, you know, being in the bottom 4 and being in the top 4.
That's right. The Magpies, the Thunder and the Swifts all with a chance to join the Firebirds and the Giants on 16 points in a race for those last 2 final spots. And of course, you can see the rainbows there. Oh, there is the ladder right there. Obviously, the Vixens joining the Fever on 28. The Firebirds need this win if they are to avoid dropping out of the 4. The Swifts and the Thunderbirds straight after this game, and then Pivot coming up straight after that, and there'll be plenty to talk about as we wrap up the weekend's netball from round 9. But right now, it is all about the Magpies. Can they continue their run of form against the Firebirds? And straight off, a whistle to start this one down here in Hobart. Sophie Garvin, first shot. High arc, drops it in off the back. And the Magpies open scoring. First possession now through Dunkley at the transverse line to the 100 gamer, Gretel Tippett.
Offside centre, inside.
That battle there, Jovic and Revalian will be key in this one.
They both offer so much speed, don't they, Will, through that mid-court, so you're right. They're going to do an absolute classic battle today between those 2.
Very much like it when you point out that I'm correct. Bit of a wayward pass there. Get away with it, though, as Brown cleans up. Garvin into the forward third now. And Kelsey Brown has been in some kind of form. We obviously spoke to her just before the match, if you're just joining us, but since the bulk, I suppose, of the Diamonds were selected for Birmingham and she wasn't in that list, she has responded with quite the month of netball.
Well, you would have to think that she's in a position to grab one of those 4 last spots that are available for the Diamonds squad. She's leading a lot of the stats, or most of the stats, in the Nissan net points. So, you know, the stats don't lie, as they say.
2 goals and then a turnover as Sophie Garvin comes out. Gotta love a goal attack who can take an intercept in, well, at the rear transverse line. And they don't honour it, though, as Asoro Brown starts play again. Plenty of strapping on Ruby Bakewell-Doran, you can see there in the middle of your screen. So we'll keep an eye on that on the left thigh.
We might have to get across to Maddie Brown to do some investigation for us.
Well, just over here, I was just going to say the intensity that both teams have started with. There's a lot of physical pressure being done off the ball, not even just in the play. So just expect that, I think, whichever team can settle, take a deep breath in the next few minutes. Hopefully the Firebirds can get on the scoreboard, but take a breath, get back into some nice structures. Should hopefully get a bit of a run on the scoreboard, I think.
I can see you standing there, or sitting there over there next to Claire Ferguson. Can you just shimmy on over there and say, hey, what's going on with Ruby Bakewell-Doran's leg, and see if she's all right? You might cop a hand to the face, but go on, you can do it.
I'll suss it out. Leave it with me.
Garvin, high, Nelson. That's another matchup that we haven't really spoken about. The 2 internationals in Nelson and Asuro Brown.
Yeah, I'm really...
Nelson, so hard to stop lately.
So looking forward to that matchup. We know Asuro Brown can just niggle her goal shooters and really get under their skin. You can see there's probably a little bit of a mismatch in height. Actually, probably not as much as what I thought. But Nelson's going to have to be really strong under the post because Asuro Brown does play that real body-on type of defence. So we just saw the last couple of times it's gone up there that has been a little bit of a fumble from Nelson. So she's going to want to have to stand tall and pull those balls in with 2 hands.
Got 61 shots away last week, did Shimona Nelson, in that loss to the Fever. And she puts the hand up in the front space now, and off the split has a mid-range shot, takes the step in.
Stand out.
And that is 4 from 4. Garvin has had one shot.
Contact, win attack.
Leads all comers, Garvin, thanks to that deflection too. 16 Nissa net points in just the first 4 minutes of this one. Dunkley, top of the circle, lovely feed
Obstruction.
into Boetta.
Well, there's no easy passage for the Firebirds at the moment down to that shooting end. They've had to really play the ball around. And normally they can just get it down there and feed it straight into Wallen, but the Magpies defenders are doing an excellent job keeping them off that circle.
Brown circle edge high, and just that space in between Bakewell Doran and Suro Brown, the two hyphens, making it difficult in commentary. Revalian. Simpson, lovely pass. And too long, though, from the captain.
In line with me.
There is the Harvey Norman replay. And
One step back,
just
shooter.
there's so much space to feature Mona Nelson. And I think, and I saw Maddie Brown prowling the sidelines. What's the update, Mads?
Look, well, I went over to the physio and he said that she sustained a corky at training. So it looks probably more severe than it is, but it's just to keep that compression around that thigh area so she can hopefully sustain or continue to play for the remainder of the game.
Look at that breaking news, investigative reporting from Madison Brown. 6-4, the Magpies up and with possession, and high again to Nelson, who'll take her 6th, and it's good as well. 3 goals now as we approach already the halfway point of this quarter.
Centre third. Goal attack, step up.
Dunkley high and asking a little too much from Wallam there.
Yeah, I'm thinking Wallam didn't leave herself enough room to drop back onto that baseline, but that was the issue there.
Too crowded as Jovic goes to Brown. Brazel, we haven't mentioned yet, really.
I'm sure we're going to be saying her name quite a bit throughout this match.
Yeah, I think so. Firebirds doing a reasonable job, though, in the middle third. Pressure in defence, but the Magpies equal to the task so far. Who wants the long-range shot? That's the question.
I mean, both of those shooters are capable of shooting from that range, so I'm surprised that they didn't just turn and go to the post and shoot.
Well, they did what they wanted to do, which is eventually get the shot, but they took a few passes to get there. Garvin nearly runs into Bakewell Doran. And this for a 5-goal lead for the home team. And the crowd down here in Hobart are enjoying what they're seeing so far. The first HCF tactical timeout coming, and we'll see what Megan Anderson has to say to her troops who are down early. And the Firebirds, I mean, for all the efforts that they made early doors, they are now sitting at 4-4, and they really need a win. I kind of had them pegged as a top 4 team, and they've kind of fallen away in the middle part of the season.
Yeah, they have. Look, they really they were coming good towards the last couple of games because we started to see them pull together 4.
Doing that is the message from Nicole Richardson in the HCF tactical timeout.
Yeah, she was talking about the Firebirds setting up a box defence, and she wants her players to drive through it to collapse the box style of defence or come up to the body and roll out of it.
Maddie Brown was hovering around the edges of the Firebirds huddle. Maddie, what did you pick up?
Well, we've seen a change come to goalkeeper with Kimberly Jenner coming on. They just need that extra bit of height, I think, on that feed coming into Nelson. They talked about their defensive pressure on the centre pass, how they're going to obviously go to a wall, back into a box. And on the centre pass, because they were struggling to get it first waves over, as you just saw in that play, maybe go backdoor a couple of times.
Mads, can you just give me a little bit, and for those of us who aren't aware of the lingo, wall versus box defence, can you break it down for us?
Well, you can just see it here with the Firebirds. They're in that nice straight line across the transverse line, trying to shut down that first phase, trying to lift the ball across. Thank you very much, Firebirds, for backing me up there. And then they sit back to try and take away space. So they did that really well and executed it nicely.
Outstanding, thank you very much. As Revalian finds Tippett out in the middle third. Forced to reset through the former captain in Simpson to the current captain. And it's Ward who gets a tip. So the Magpies not making it easy to find a way into the circle.
Yeah, both Mentor and Ward are doing a fantastic job down there on Wallam. Just double defending, taking away her space. She's used to having that space to drop back to the post, but they're just not allowing that for her today.
There is an element of working a player out after they come in, you know, and suddenly make a big impact and then get studied in the way they haven't been before. And Danielle Wallam has had her ups and downs in the middle part of the season because of that. But her class does continue to shine through, even though defenders are working out what they need to do.
Yeah, it does. And look, every player takes a while to settle into the game. So you see now the ball's not lovely fed into a Wallam there from Revalian. So it'll just maybe take a couple more minutes for her to settle into the game, and then I think we'll see a different Wallam.
Yeah, she's left a couple short there, but she's reasonably unflappable. It's not like, even though she's new to Super Netball, she's not new to elite netball.
Not at all.
Having played under Dan Ryan in Leeds, and to go from WA to there is someone who is a mature netballer to shine in a jump like that. So another jump to come here, and she's handled it well, and that's why she's got the green and gold on, or will have, as the ball heads out of court. And here is the Harvey Norman replay, and it's Brown who just lobs it up beautifully. Good to see the change there from Megan Anderson to put Kim Jenner on. She's been a little more reluctant in recent weeks to make the changes, and they have looked settled at times, but when you've got to make it, as we said before the match, you've got to make it, and it's an interesting one this early, I suppose. Kim Jenner on.
Well, I think Megan could see that the ball was just going in so easy, so often into Shimona Nelson. So I think she's made the right call in bringing Kimberly Jenner on this early, and see whether they can shut that ball coming in.
Well, there you go. As Bakewell Doran puts a hand on one, Jenner picks up, and down the court come the Firebirds, who need to find a way to eat into this 4-goal lead. Nice feed, beautifully weighted to Wallam, and no mistake for that one as we hit the power 5. So the super shot, the Suncorp super shot in effect. And we'll see if anyone's willing to take one in the opening quarter, or if they keep grinding it out. Nelson home alone. Nice hold up on the defence, on the pass, sorry, from Brown. Draws the defender out, finds the back space. And at 4 goals it is. Will it be the Firebirds who look for the 2-point goal first of all? Especially if Jovic can find a way out of the pocket to Nelson and make it 5 goals. Reset, Brazel. Garvin, the hand is in the air, and there is the target. 5 goals it is.
Well,
Let's have a look at the net points before, sorry to interrupt there, but the Magpies dominating at the top. Garvin, Jovic, Brown, as they head from the midcourt to the attack end. Plenty of stats being racked up. Garvin on 22.5.
Magpie.
Back to 4, under 4 minutes on the clock now. There is Garvin.
That was a great challenge from Ruby Bakewell-Doran, but just too high coming in for her.
5 of the past 7 goals going the Magpies' way, and that is why there is a 5-goal advantage to the home team. How do you see Garvin at goal attack? How do you feel that's working out? Because obviously you've got Shimona Nelson there. It's an embarrassment of riches in the goal shooter position, but each week Sophie Garvin getting more used to playing a more roving role in goal attack.
Yeah, look, and it's not her usual position that we're used to seeing her in the previous teams that she's played with. She's been a star goal shooter. So she's had to come into this team and really adapt her style of play to be... It's not that it's unfamiliar to her. She has played in that goal attack role before. But, yeah, so I think she's, I guess, taken a little while to build into this goal attack role. She's been a little inconsistent over the season. But, you know, she's a good player. She's a quality player. You know, she's in the Diamond squad, so... We've seen her in the Diamonds team before, so I think that she'll really improve. But we need to see her standing up today and in the next few matches as well.
I'd like to see her take a few more shots too. She's had one, well, she's on 100%, so you can't ask for more than that in terms of shooting percentage. But when you've got Shimona Nelson as a target, it's very easy to make that decision to feed Nelson. Garvin. Now, that was a very dangerous pass, and it doesn't come off.
And well done to Kim Jenner for coming out and having a fly at that. She didn't get the intercept, but she forced the error by coming off the body and coming out and having a go.
Hasn't seen as much court time as she would have liked, Kim Jenner, over the past few, with the rise of Ruby Bakewell-Doran and obviously the inclusion of Ebony Asuro-Brown down the defensive end, but adjusts her game and finds herself back in the mix in the opening quarter.
Yeah, you're right, Will. And look, it can be really hard to be, you know, last year being one of the star players and then, you know, this year coming from the bench. But the bench players play a really key role in being able to come on and make that impact as they come on. And anything can happen to any player at any time of the season with COVID and with injuries. And you really, as a bench player, you need to be ready to come on and just put your best foot forward.
Well, we know, you know, someone like a Gemma Maimai has played 50 games, basically coming off the bench and making impacts, which she'll do again today, no doubt, in her, I think, now 52nd Super Netball game. And it's Tippett who gets a hand on one. It goes out, beats Brazel as well. And suddenly, with a minute to go, it's 2 goals. Wylam 10 of 13, Boetta 3 from 3 when she's had the opportunity. Jovic now, from 2-point range, decides to feed Nelson instead, Garvin. (16-13). Here is the Firebirds coach writing down some notes, what to talk to her team to in the next 30 seconds, and maybe we'll talk about that, the opportunity that they've squandered. Ward. Garvin now as they reset, and Bakewell-Doran did her best there, but they're not going to stop the Magpies from going back out to 4 and with possession. So to take the momentum, they can go back to 5 before quarter time. Garvin lets it fly. And the clock's going to run out, but it's not going to stop Nelson from getting a shot away. And we're back at 5. The Collingwood Magpies find a way back from each challenge that the Firebirds threw at them. They hold a 5-goal lead coming into quarter time here at My State Bank Arena. We'll take a break. Flawless shooting and a fast start from the Collingwood Magpies, and it has been a physical one as well. Shimona Nelson, 17 from 17, and a little bit of work on the post there from Kim Jenner. It's been plenty happening down here at My State Bank Arena. Look at that. Sharon Finnan-White, the post, gets it.
That's why we have post pads, Will.
Maddie Brown has been listening in on the Magpies, and I'm assuming, Maddie, that there was plenty to like about the chat down there.
There was. They said to continue to tick over the scoreboard in attack, they need to be patient. They want to see Garvin get into that circle nice and early, try and draw that separation between those defenders. In defence, have a look at Jiva Mentor in this next quarter. She's going to try and hedge the space, working front and back on Wylam to get that confusion in the feeders' heads. And at the front, Brazel is going to try and give a little bit of extra attention to Boetta just to get her a little bit roughed up so she's tired when she gets in that circle.
Yeah, Greta Bueta, 28.5 missed in net points, and that was all work done before Origin Energy quarter time. Let's see if she can continue her form, leading all Nissan net pointers in the second quarter, and she's going to need to if the Firebirds are going to arrest this slide. Already 5 goals down, and with a very pro Magpies. In fact, I can only see about 5 people wearing purple in here down in Hobart. Very pro Magpies crowd who will be willing their team over the line and to be fighting for that top 4 spot as Bueta has it in hand. And from further than she would have liked, Wallam doesn't make the first one stick. She will the second, though, and we're at 18-14. Jenna flying out again. Gets the hand, but not enough.
Barney's moving off, goalkeeper. Contact, wing defender. Goalkeeper.
Well, it's getting very physical, Will, isn't it, inside that circle? I'm sure that we're going to see a lot more of that physicality as the match progresses on.
Yeah,
there's another one.
Brings a bit of that. Wallam again in the front space. Coping with the matchup and mentor well. Garvin takes the step, the big split from Nelson.
Obstruction, goalkeeper. Obstruction, advantage goal. Firebirds.
Queensland Firebirds, and Jenna picked up her 5th penalty there. They're on 23 now to the Magpies 16. Always got to watch the penalties, does Jenna.
Yeah, we've seen Kim Jenner before have a high penalty count in a lot of the matches that she plays, but I'm sure she's been working on that at training. And, you know, as long as she comes off the body when she goes to contest the ball, that should minimise those penalties.
Yeah, we pull her out on 5, but Basuro Brown 5, Simpson 5, Revalian 5. They're sharing it around.
5's the number of the day.
There you go, look at that. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5.
Contact is outside. We are centre, out.
Revalian circle edge, the big split coming from Bueta. Only her 4th attempt. Incredible Bueta. 9 centre pass received, 6 feeds for 5 assists.
And that's
playing
the
an
thing
all-round game as the turnover comes.
with Bueta. She does such a mountain of work out front, doesn't she? And she knows her role. It doesn't always have to be that shooting role because they've got that target in Wallam. But when she does shoot, more likely it's going to go in.
And Danelle Wallam, she's not Romelda George in that she has she's a little bit more, there's a little more movement coming from Danelle, but it hasn't changed or it's even assisted Bueta's game, and they've just gelled together like they've been playing much longer than what they have.
Yeah, that's
Huntley
right.
hits the deck and continues on. Nice work through the middle channel there from Browns and Nelson. And they're 4-4 in this quarter. Still 5 goals up the Magpies. We're just talking about the Firebirds attack end. Maddie, you've got some thoughts there.
Yeah, in comparison to the Magpies, they've got so much confidence to let it fly to Nelson. And the Firebirds are a little bit hesitant in letting that release go. And I think it's coming down to Wallam's hold. She's coming off a little bit, and that's the work that Jiva Mentor does to create that confusion. So if she can just hold that little bit longer and really dominate that space, they might be able to side her a little bit earlier and get it in quicker.
Thanks, Maddie. We'll keep an eye on that. Jiva Mentor, obviously one of the best goalkeepers, if not the best goalkeeper in the world. There's that release you were talking about. Not that much space for Nelson, but
The goal attack.
it doesn't matter. As Sophie Garvin shoots just her 2nd shot of this match. You can't fault the accuracy from the Magpies.
Attack, Firebirds centre, push.
Biggest lead of the match too now, as we come up to 5 minutes gone in the second quarter at My State Bank Arena. Magpies never lost down here since starting to come down here in 2017 at their inception. It's a nice place for them to play, and it looks, it's had a bit of a makeover too here. It's a lovely venue, great court.
Goal attack.
My first time to Hobart, Will.
Is it really?
Yeah, went up to Mount Wellington yesterday and had a freezing cold time up there. But yeah, beautiful place, Hobart.
The Queensland to Hobart gateway to hypothermia.
It certainly was.
Contact on the ball.
Wallam's left a few short. She's done that. We've seen that happen. You know, normally she picks up her own rebound, so it's not too big of a deal, but you can see there 14 of 18. But
Yeah,
she's probably picked up 4 rebounds off that.
Yeah, she's not looking as confident as we've seen her in the past, and that, you know, is a credit to Mentor. We know last time they met in round 6, Mentor did exactly the same thing on her. She was able to angle her body to be able to confuse the space and where to put the feeds in. And we've seen Kim Ravillion, the last couple of feeds that have gone in have just gone wayward, and that's, you know, as Maddie said, Wallam coming off the hold too soon and Mentor being able to angle her body.
Dunkley with the turnover from short range and immediately sends it down to Boetta. They're going to need a few more of those, and Ward nearly returns fire. Doesn't make it happen. But you remember your matchup against someone like Jiva Mentor, let alone the fact that it was 3 weeks ago and they're playing against each other again. But as an attacker, I mean, you can't help but remember if you didn't have a great game against a certain defender, especially if it was only, you know, a couple of weeks ago.
Not that long ago, absolutely. Yeah. And look, you would think that the coaches have done their homework on both teams. So I'm a little surprised that Donnell hasn't quite worked out what her role is down there at the moment. So hopefully she'll pick up on that in the next couple of minutes.
How about Boetta off the one step there, goes for the quick feed, but Jiva Mentor saw that one coming and just got herself in perfect position.
As we see Mai take the court at the wing attack position.
Yeah, there has been a change. Maddie, give us the update.
I actually think it's just, oh, what a great feed by Brazel to Nelson, home alone under the post. I think they just actually need a little bit more dynamic movement, and hopefully Mai will be able to provide that for you. Straight out, getting that centre pass. Dunkley only had 5 feeds and 1 centre pass received, so hopefully she can bring a little bit more spark to them.
Mai immediately feeds Boetta, and that was nearly a little long. A little high five between the attacking duo.
But how good was Ash Brazel? She absolutely shouldered Mai's move and nearly forced the error there. They were lucky to get away with that one.
Goalkeeper beside.
Nelson, 26 goals from 26. She likes it too. Pumping up the mid-court. Mai.
Keeper, contact. Yes, beside her goalkeeper.
Just getting good space in the circle. Nelson, you saw there from the graphic, bottom right of screen, has not been forced to take shots from anywhere other than where she wants to. 10-9 the quarter. 6 goals now, the Magpies, and with possession. Garvin, Brazel, as they wait, stay patient, wait for the right time to feed Nelson, and Jenna bats it out of play. In fact, it's going to be a Firebirds ball. Can they capitalise on this? Simpson switches direction.
You can see the Magpies setting up a bit of a diamond zone defence through that mid-court, which just slows the ball down a little bit for the Firebirds, but they managed to get through it. Strong take from Wallam, and the layup that we love to see, don't we?
We certainly do, but they were made to work for that one, and they need to back it up with back-to-back goals. And
lovely feed
nice
from
hold,
Mai into
feed,
Wallam.
yep.
Love saying those two names together, by the way.
I have no doubt. Good to see the Indigenous representation. Good to see Pride match as well. It's an inclusive space netball on the HCF tactical timeout. And we're back to 4. Here is the Harvey Norman replay. 1-2 in. I've been learning from Gretel, I think.
That's what I love about those layups. It doesn't allow the defenders time to be able to get into space and get over the ball.
Let's listen in to Megan Anderson and see what the message is, if they can cut that down before half-time. We'll get the microphone over there. There we go.
Back into the circle. So we can sit closer to hedge out to come back, rather than sitting out to look at that to then get all the way back in. Does that make sense? So when it's just me on the circle, do I just move, be moving, but on that angled movement. And sometimes we were getting caught on the behind side if we were the trailing player coming through. So remember, if that front one's gone and they're providing space, you've got to come into the front space on Shimona. Yeah. Nice punch on that lead in transition. Let's just make sure that we don't get caught to one. Yeah.
Claire Ferguson with plenty to say to her defensive duo on the HCF tactical timeout. 28-24, 6:26 to go in the second quarter. Swifts Thunderbirds straight after this. Two more teams on 12 points as the logjam intensifies in round 9 of Suncorp Super Netball. And immediately Sophie Garvin with shot number 3 now heads out to 5 goals again, and unsurprisingly on the miss and net points, it's the mid-court that we spoke about so much in the pre-show of Kelsey Brown and Molly Jovic, who are dominating the points. And there they are right now. Brown to Jovic, Garvin circle edge, and splits Bakewell, Doran and Jenna. As you know, as we said, Soro Brown taking the rest.
For me, the Firebirds are just sitting off too far in defence. That's the difference with the defensive efforts of the Magpies. They're contesting every ball, whereas the Firebirds really need to get back into contesting every single ball and riding the shoulders.
High again, and it works again as Jenna hits the deck and Nelson drains number 28. And now we're at 7. Coming up to the power 5, so expect some super shots to come from the Firebirds at this stage of the game.
Great depth from Mai, getting down court quickly and a beautiful feed into Danelle.
The intensity on Megan Anderson's face, knowing that this power 5 could make or break the Firebirds' charge. And they really need to move on to 5 wins. As high it goes again to Nelson, and down again goes Jenna. I can't say she's not giving 100% effort to try and stop those feeds coming in, but can do nothing about it at the moment. 14-11 the quarter. Mai streaking across circle edge, looking to move the defenders around and finding the space behind.
Great patience from Gemma Mai just to wait for that drop to the post. Well sighted.
Jovic, Garvin, and Jovic is just a workhorse and doing the same thing at the other end. Defenders come forward, space on the baseline, and Nelson misses one. Well, gets the rebound, and she's on now 30 of 31. And there is a Harvey Norman replay at the Firebirds attack end. And Gemma Mai, a good inclusion, a good substitution to make in the context of how this match is shaking out at the moment. And here comes the super shot from Danelle Wallam. And it is no good. Let's see if they set up for another. Instead, they go to tip it. Great athleticism. And will she follow it up with a super shot from long range? She does! Wow, the Suncorp super shot from the 100 gamer after that piece of athleticism. It just right there. Oh, what a feed at the other end. We're heating up at the back end of the half.
They really can't afford to leave Shimona Nelson unattended under the post. It's the second time the ball's come in. I know that the defenders are out hunting for ball, which is great, but you just can't afford to leave someone like Shimona Nelson unattended.
Got to back up a piece of play like that of Boetta's with a good piece of defence. The second super shot comes. It's not going to drop. And it's off Ward out. So they get another chance to set up. Now every successful Suncorp super shot today, $100 from Suncorp goes to the Confident Girls Foundation. So you love to see it, first of all. And you love the way they can swing a match as into super shot range goes Wallam. Third attempt. Nails it this time, and we're back at 4. All right, couple of Suncorp super shots straight off the top. We're back at 4, and Nelson will look to make that 5 and settle the ship somewhat. And we're 17 goals apiece for the quarter, so a lot tighter now. And a lot easier up the middle channel for the Firebirds as well, as Wallen was setting up there in super shot range, and instead it's going to be Tippett from way downtown. Very flat arc. Go, have another go. No. Doesn't like that call, Ward.
She's got a high penalty count, but gee, she's in everything. She's really making a nuisance of herself in there for those shooters.
And this time, the athleticism not matched with the direction of the pass, but you can't blame Greta Buerta for that. Not many people would have dragged that in off Wallen's missed shot. A collision there between Maimai and Brazel. It's getting a little more willing now as the stakes get higher in the shadows of half-time. 1:24 on the clock.
Great feed from Kelsey Brown into Nelson there. We see that time and time again.
And this and net point numbers across the attack for the Magpies are just, not only are they high numbers, they're also consistent as Simpson nearly gets it reeled in as Jovic hits the ground. But there you go. Off the back of course, Nelson's there on 42.5, but Brown and Jovic are both equally impressive as they have been. As the Sabco mop comes out.
On you, Normie. Let's hear it for Norm, everyone. Come on.
Big round of applause for the mop work, and we carry on with 1:03 on the clock in the half. Garvin, and now we don't need the mop again now as Brown falls to the deck as well. There's been a few collisions out there. 7 goals, so the Magpies, after those couple of super shots, have righted the ship, and they've done it the way they tend to do it, which is just grinding out and making sure they turn their possessions into 1-point goals over and over and benefit off those missed super shots from the Firebirds. – 20 seconds, and they've got a chance to go back to 7 goals. The Magpies! And the tip out from Maimai. Might just do enough to give the Firebirds a chance to defend this half out. 14 seconds left on the clock. Ward, Brown as they push up in defence, but they find a way through the middle. Channel twice, Garvin and Nelson, and it will be 7 in the end. The clock will beat the rest, and the Magpies will be up by 7 after a 20-goal quarter to the Firebirds 18. So they increase their lead, and the Magpies, they look up and about. There was a period of time there during the second quarter when the Firebirds were finding a way, but the Magpies have settled and they go in with a 7-goal lead.
Magpies look very committed in defence. They look hungry for the ball, and they've just shutting down that space and that area for the clear area for the girls to get down to their Firebirds shooting end. So yeah, good work to the Magpies.
Welcome back to My State Bank Arena, where the Collingwood fans down here in Hobart are enjoying a quality showing, and the Firebirds are going to need something to bring them back into this one. As we get play underway straight away, Ebony Asuro-Brown is back on in the goalkeeper position for the Firebirds, and Gemma Maimai stays out there. She's had great stats since she came on for Lara Dunkley in wing attack position. And a turnover early for the Magpies, which is not what Megan Anderson would have wanted. And
we also see Ruby Baker-Doran go to the bench as well, Will, with Kimberly Jenner out to goal defence.
Good to see Kim Jenner back to her old self and getting good minutes as well. And meanwhile, in Magpies land, they have the same 7 that they have had throughout. And why not? It's all going very well as they go back out to 7 goals. Tippett, top of the circle. And Ward, she's been threatening to do that all game, and finally she gets a clean one. Turnover needs to be backed up with a score. And Garvin just casually hands off to Nelson, who honours that work from Jodie Ann Ward with a goal, her 36th. 40 plays 32 here in Hobart. And again, turnovers coming, and this time it's Kelsey Brown. High.
Well, she had to work hard on that centre pass, Kelsey Brown. She had Simpson and Revillion closing her down.
Instruction, both players.
But she managed to sneak through, as she does.
9 goals now. And here come the Magpies with possession as well. Circle edge, Garvin waits high.
It's your back arm.
And
With the keeper, with her.
Megan Anderson shuffling the decks, trying to find a way to stop the feeds coming in to Shimona Nelson, but nothing's working. 10 goals and possession, and here it comes again. Lovely release and a confident one from Garvin to split Jenner and Asuro Brown. And it's an 11-goal game.
The Firebirds are going to have to be really careful here that this scoreline doesn't blow out any further than it already is. Oh, great work from Mentor there.
That's a coach killer kind of pass when you're down 5-1 in the quarter and just fire it in when Jiva Mentor's prowling around.
And same.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Brazel comes up with a loose ball and they're ruffled. They are ruffled, the Firebirds.
Well, Jodie-Ann Ward's doing a lot of damage down there in that circle. She's just floating off. She's everywhere, just ready to pick any ball that comes near her.
1 goal in 3 minutes to the Magpies. Well, could be 6 now. And Maddie Brown, what are the answers? Have you got any answers?
Oh, I'd like to think I do, but I'm not too sure. But I just would love to see the Firebirds in attack. We saw Wallen yelling out to the girls saying, settle, let's calm down. But what happens sometimes when that is said to the team is they start to find to stand still rather than actually doing that extra work. So they need to start to chip away, do extra workload, get that effort in there, and maybe use some backdoor centre passes to get that depth down court a little bit earlier.
So settle down, calm down, but work twice as hard as you normally do. Makes sense. The HCF tactical timeout. Let's listen in to Megan Anderson.
Even go back to using screens and then open up for each other and then come back. Yeah? Okay, we'll do that for each other. Let's be brave. Be brave and come and have some flies at some long stuff, all right? Time to have a crack, okay? No more waiting for it. Let's go. Totally off body down there. Let's go. Shot! Let's go.
Megan Anderson taking the time to pump up the troops and get their heads back in the game after, no doubt, what was a fairly staunch halftime discussion turned into a 6-1 run against them. And who'd be a coach, hey?
Well, I certainly wouldn't be at this level right now, Will. But look, Megan's right. The Firebirds attackers are just, well, the whole team are trying to find space and they're not able to find it. So the best way to do that is to come up to the body and then come back off and take the pass. And be brave and come off and have a crack at some of those long balls because they're not gathering any turnovers at this stage.
Jovic and Brown, the dynamic duo in the mid-court for the Magpies. And high goes Bakewell Doran. Hand over the back from Nelson. But the Firebirds pick it up. And that's what the Queensland fans will like to see.
Ruby had perfect position there to take that intercept. And they've just, unfortunately, thrown it away. Another lost opportunity for the Firebirds.
If you were indeed Megan Anderson, Sharon, what would you do? What changes would you make? Do we see some time out of centre for Kim Revallion? Do we see Lara Dunkley on court with Gemma Maimai at the same time? I mean, what do we see?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the depth of the bench, does she have another centre? I mean, with Dunkley, we don't see in centre that often. Can we throw her in the centre? Because you're right, Kim Revillion is having a relatively quiet game to what we're used to seeing from her. Mai could be thrown into the centre as well, and then Dunkley back onto wing attack. We know Gemma can play in the centre. She's got the speed, and she's very dynamic. So, look, there are some options there for Megan.
46-32. It was 5. Then it was 7 as Ash Braz decides to throw a pass to the Firebirds bench. And now it is 14, if you can believe that. 8-1 the run in this last 5 minutes. And they desperately need a settler as the contact comes between Ward and Tippett. And Jiva Mentor is just doing a superb job at the back there, disrupting the flow into the circle, disrupting Danelle Wallam.
She's got a great hold there, ready to go in. Beautiful feed. And it's those quick feeds that go in when the defenders aren't ready. If you float the ball high into the air, Mentor and Ward will just absolutely snap them up.
Speaking of floating it high into the air, there it goes, and
Ruby
bids the race.
She's so good at that, just chasing any loose ball.
I reckon that padding's on there for no reason, just a pure tactic.
Could be, Will.
Certainly not showing any ill effects of the knock she caught during the week, as in goes My, just turns and delivers to Wallam. And we've seen when the Firebirds are at their best, that's the kind of delivery that they can trust Danelle to reel in. Simpson, My, just working hard. Again, high it goes, again to Wallam, and it goes from an 8-1 run.
Goalkeeper.
And if she drops this in, it'll be back to 8-5 on the run. And so, finally, the Firebirds have woken up. Danelle could just feel Jiva breathing
She
down her
can.
neck.
She just needs to take a deep breath, follow through on the shot, and then get ready for the next one coming down.
The Magpies.
That's timeout for the Magpies.
The HCF tactical timeout coming. It went out to 14. It came back into 10. So a little shift back in momentum, or at least a halting of momentum, as Nicole Richardson prepares to talk to her troops for the HCF timeout, and we'll listen in.
That's where it's going okay. But that's where the learning comes in. We don't need to long bomb it, yeah? That's where we build. We should be 14, 15 goals up. Now we're back to where we were, right? So just shorten it back up in attack. All hands on deck. And if we don't want to go long, just reset, back door, make sure you're there, reset, and let's go again. Okay, come on, back to what worked in the first start for you. Let's go.
And I would just say, defensively, we'll just step off them, so we go back to one-on-one. Yeah. You come back to me. Yeah. Have you guys fight for the first couple? If it's going back, then stick one. Yeah, that's all 7 in tackle, 7 defense. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. 5. Let's go, girl.
There really isn't another sport where you can get that level of access mid-game in a huddle and hear exactly what the coaches are saying on the fly. So we thank each of the teams and Super Netball for allowing Fox Sports the access that we get and allowing our fans the access to hearing exactly what the coaches are saying as the matches are unfolding. 10 seconds left on the timeout and we'll get back underway. 10 goals. And as Nicole Richardson said, she should be 15, or they should be 15, or they could be, but they're back to where they started, which is still sitting pretty as we head down to Maddie Brown. And you were listening to Megan Anderson. She would have been happy with the last minute, but not with the previous 6.
No, she said the pressure, as we just see Bakewell Doran get a hand to the ball, she said it's about lifting that intensity, and you can see that in the Firebirds play at the moment. They're communicating, they're connecting, they're starting to get those little tips. There's a little bit more spark in their play. In attack, she said, when we get those turnovers, let's capitalise on them rather than letting them go to waste. And in defence, just stay active, be proactive, and get the ball on your hand. Let's see if they can make this one count.
Thanks, Maddie. I was just watching Nicole Richardson right then because she said no long bombs. And then Ash Brazel just let one go, and she stood up and she took 2 steps out onto the court and then realised that she had to go and sit back down again. Did not enjoy that, and then, of course, it came with the Firebirds turnover and a goal off the back too. And suddenly we go from 10 to 8. And Nicole Richardson's like, why do I even say anything?
Well, I actually wrote down what she said. Well, it was no need for the long bombs.
Look at that. 6 on the trot off the back of the Magpies, 4 on the trot. And a loose ball again. Well, ebbs and flows in the game of netball. Nielsen gets her 44th, but she has been denied opportunities this quarter compared to the free-flowing scoring that was happening in the first half here in Hobart. Revalian, Tippett, the old jump pass. Not that she really needs to jump over the top of Molly Jovic, but she does anyway. And the Firebirds drag another one back. They're at 8 now. Garvin, short, Brown, lets it go, and just staying in is Nelson, and the ball is up for grabs, and
On the top, around here, wing attack. Wing attack. It's going to be on the other side.
Oh, the intensity rising out there on court, and why not?
Return the ball, defender.
Circle edge, Brown fakes twice, lets it go. Bakewell Doran doing her utmost, but Kelsey Brown knows exactly the weight she needs. On the pass.
Contact keeper.
Great shot from Garvin. Very confident shot.
Yeah, casual as you like, that one. Again, though, that is her 4th shot. Boetta's had 8 attempts, Garvin 4, Nelson 45. And this will be number 39 for Wallam. And that's goal number 31 from 39 attempts. So percentages down like they were last time she played against Jiva Mentor. But, you know, she picks up those rebounds, as we said. So, Brazel not willing to do another long bomb, lest she be dropped from the team, and it's Jenner that picks it up. The bounce pass beat Kelsey Brown, and instead in the hands of Kim Jenner. Simpson fires it into the forward third. As high. That's a bit of a hope, that one, from Boetta.
Well, it's unusual to see Boetta feeding from so far off the circle. We're used to seeing her working it and using her centre court players to get to circle edge. So a little uncharacteristic of Gretel.
Jenner flying out, trying to win possession back. Doesn't quite get her hands on it. And instead, Nelson picks up another one. So we're back at 9. Kelsey Brown leading all comers in the Nissan net points. Danelle Wallam coming into this game. And she's the only Firebird in the top 5.
Contact centre. With the centre. With her.
Rebellion
Contact.
just high enough as we head into the Power 5 again, and we could be seeing some more super shots coming, and they will need to be accurate. If they are going to nail the Suncorp super shot, it needs to go in, because you know Shimona Nelson will punish you at the other end, and suddenly 9 goals can turn into 14 or 15 with a quarter to play. Jovic.
The difference between the two shooting ends, Will, is that Nelson and Garvin don't often take the super shots.
Oh, Bakewell Doran!
Again?
Sorry, again.
Yeah.
You take your eyes off play for 1 second.
See what happens. But and in contrast, at the other end, Wallam and Boetta both will, you know, capable of taking the super shot. So I guess that's why we've seen Gabby Sinclair come on for that purpose.
Advantage offside.
Good call.
This side of her.
Sinclair gets some game time high over Jenner.
Jenner's head was just down there, just didn't quite see that ball going up. But she's doing a fantastic job since she's come on, hasn't she, Will?
That's right. Yeah, she has, and she's played more in this game than in the previous ones. The turnover coming to the Magpies. We head down to Maddie Brown, and the changes are being rung on both sides.
We've seen, obviously, Mia Stoa come on for the Firebirds into that goal shooter position. During the power play, trying to get that deficit on the scoreboard back. I would love to see her get out of the front of the circle and do a little bit more work. We see Gretel getting a little bit tired. She's had 22 centre pass receives and 10 goal assists. So she's doing a power work out the front. That's the work of the mid-court. So let's get her in the circle and let's see what she can do in this power play time.
You're right, Maddie. The mid-court out front, they're really putting pressure on Gretel. You can see they're just blocking her drive every time, any time she comes near them. So she is getting tired.
You see the score breakdown there. The Magpies are out to a fast start. They have extended it slightly in each of the quarters since then. But the Firebirds have probably had the best of the last 6 or 7 minutes. So they need to capitalise in the last 3 minutes of the Power 5. We need to see some Suncorp super shots. And we most certainly, at least for Queensland fans, need to see them sink, because at the other end, Shimona Nelson is just continuing on her merry way with her 47th goal from 48 attempts. 51 plays 42. Bakewell Doran. Tippett. And Stoa hands off in super shot range. Suncorp super shot time for Gretel Tippett. Oh, sorry, Gretel Boetta.
You've said
she does
a few
the job.
times,
I have. I know. I
can't.
can't.
I haven't pulled you up on it till now.
I can't control myself. I'm normally good with that. I'm normally good with the married names, but I'm a bit off my game today. Jovic.
Contact with her.
14-13 in the quarter. Again, the Magpies just eking out a little bit more out of the Firebirds. Stoa. My to
outside wing defender.
Bueta, but
Obstruction, goal defence. Arms around.
Stower off the Suncorp super shot now. Didn't look good out of the hand, and just a little bit to the right. Instead, Bueta cleans up. But they're not making inroads, the Firebirds.
Yeah, they really need to be starting to take those 2-pointers where possible.
Defender contact. Hit the defender. Yes. Firebirds!
8 goals, and the Magpies will look to win this quarter as well. 15-14 right now, a minute to go. And Bueta cleans it up to 15 all. Ward, Brazel. Good little physical battle going on between Simpson and Brown. A little smile there, and at the end, just a beautifully weighted feed over the top to Nelson. Goal number 50 for Shimona Nelson. Simpson, 30 seconds on the clock. They need something to lift them here, the Firebirds. Revaliant finding going very tough in the centre of the court. The Firebirds, and Stower hands off to Bueta, who touched on it from Mentor. Seven seconds, and it's Stower who'll take the super shot. And they needed that, the Firebirds, and you can see how happy Gretel Bueta is. And we're going to head to a break straight away. We're back at 6 goals. We could be set for a big finish here in Hobart. Don't miss it. We are back at My State Bank Arena, three-quarter time, thanks to Origin Energy, where all good change starts. And speaking of a good change, don't have to listen to me anymore, because we're going to head down to Maddie Brown, who was listening in on the Magpies. Maddie.
I was, and Nicole Richardson, coach, was saying that, you know, their team motto for today was calm in the chaos. And in that final few minutes of the quarter, they were a little bit hectic. She wants them to go back to their basics, one-on-one to a box defence in their defence end, shutting down that middle channel, and in attack having multiple options to the ball, not getting so wide, making sure they've got that pulley system coming out.
Thanks, Maddie. Always great to get your insights. And there's Molly Jovic and Ash Brazel. If they're going to keep calm in the chaos, they have to look to their mid-court to make sure they do so. No more long bombs, just waiting and executing, because they were up by as much as 11 at one point, Sharon Finn-White, and now it is back to 6. So just a little sniff here for the Firebirds, who remain unchanged from prior to the break. Mia Stower still up the attack end, got the goal shooter's bib on, and Gretel Bueta having a little bit of a joke there with Ash Brazel before the final 15 minutes of this one. Of course, we head to Ken Rose Wall Arena, and the Swifts up against the Thunderbirds. And if it stays like this, one of those teams will join these two on 16 points and sniffing around the edge of the top 4. Brazel. Brown. And Gabby Sinclair stayed on, partnering Shimona Nelson. And I wonder whether the ghosts of this time last week in the fourth quarter, as the turnover nearly comes, but My cleans up. The ghosts of the, I don't want to call it a choke, but they had the fever on the ropes and they let them go. And now they're up again at three-quarter time. Oh, My is having quite the game. They'll need to show that composure, and I guess that calm in the chaos comes from that fourth quarter last week.
She's looking a little bit ginger on her ankle there with that last contest, but yeah, she's really made an impact since she's come onto the court. It's great to see some of the bench players getting a run, obviously against, you know, in an intense match like this. Never did we think we'd see Wallam, Usuro Brown and Bakewell Doran sitting on the bench, not Bakewell Doran, sorry, Lara Dunkley sitting on the bench when we're used to seeing them starting in the same 7. So it just goes to show that your time from the bench can come at a moment's notice.
Yeah, they didn't make a change last week. Mia Stower, Gemma My, Kim Jenner all sat out last week. Didn't get a minute of game time, but it's a very different game. And
Goal defence, you're out. Beside and away not in front.
We'll hope, at least for Queensland fans, that it's a different result too after being denied by a pair of goals against the Vixens up against another Melbourne side, and they are down as home alone is Nelson. Down now by 7. 13 minutes, 7 goals. Stour, Buetta, Revalian as they try to find a way in. Circle edge still. Jodie-Ann Ward just everywhere.
Yes.
I'd really like to see them start taking the 2-point shots right at the 5-minute mark, because otherwise they're going to be just playing catch-up netball if they can't bring this lead back.
Yeah, they've got 7.5 minutes before then to hopefully eat a little bit in, but you're right, if they're going to roll the dice, they may as well roll it at the 5 and not wait until the last 90 seconds and let time get away, and the Magpies to control it. Great shot there from Sinclair, who... Oh, it's only actually her second shot since she's been on, as Dunkley joins us back on court. And Jodie-Ann Ward leads all comers in this and net points, and why not? She's been really busy in defence and has been very disruptive too. We've seen the effect of that.
Yes, you're right.
And she gives away a lot of height in that circle, but gee, she's got a very good vertical jump. And that's what Mia Stour does well. She's an expert super shot player.
Yeah, she just looks very calm out there, which is, and it's not a calm game. So it stands out, certainly, since she's been on. Stour's been solid. Nelson under the attention of RBD.
Very unlucky to get away with that one, Ruby Bakewell-Doran.
Sinclair pops it off to Nelson for her 53rd goal now. Revalian, Bakewell-Doran, Buetta. Short passes, waiting and staying patient. Again from distance, and again, no problem from Stour as we head down to Maddie Brown.
I just heard Coach Nicole Richardson yell out saying new 5. So 5 minutes of the quarter is gone. It's a great way for teams to kind of break down the game so they can reassess, focus on those basic kind of game plays or focus areas that they want to. So a new 5, reset, connect for the Magpies here. So let's see what they can do in this next couple of minutes.
Thanks, Maddie. Speaking of connect, Kim Jenner just connected with the pole, or the post, the same way that Kira Austin did yesterday. So here we go. Let's have a look on the Harvey Norman replay. There you go. They're made of stern stuff.
Nearly
If they can
knocked it out of the ground. It's shaking quite a bit there.
If anyone could knock it out of the ground, I think Kim Jenner probably could.
She's a tough cookie. She bounces back.
As it's Ward now taking her turn to have a quick sit down. Stour heads in for her own rebound. Knew it wasn't safe out of the hand, and ends up winning back possession. Oh, had to go for the third option. Lovely again from Stour.
Considering she hasn't had a lot of court time, she's just come on, she's confident, she's patient, she's looking really good at the moment.
Brazel fires it into the forward third. Jovic threads the needle to Brown. A reset, hands up high from Kim Rav. Beautiful feed, though, in the end to Nelson.
Look, I really love what Bakewell-Doran and Kim Jenner are doing on Nelson, but it's just that last second they come off the body and that's when the ball comes in. I'd like to see them stay on that double defence for a little bit longer.
Dunkley high, tip it. With the agility to make it a 7-7 quarter. So we stay at 6. Goals the difference with 6 minutes gone. And the Magpies are doing enough to stay, or to keep the stalemate, if you like. Sinclair from distance now, high arc. Unlucky, that looked nice, but Nelson comes up with the offensive rebound.
That's 2 rebounds for Shimona Nelson this match.
Firebirds wasting no time getting down the other end, and it's Tippett who looks to return fire. Stowe will restart, so still with possession.
Yes.
This time the Firebirds cannot afford to lose. Need to nail that one first up. As Jovic gets things underway again. 8-7 the quarter. The Magpies again winning as Sinclair looks for better position and finds Nelson in the end through Brown.
98% Shimona Nelson. That is so impressive.
I think she picked up the rebound on a one missed shot too. Rebellion. Stower in the forward space, knowing she's backing a long shot. And why not? Yeah, needs to reproduce this in another 2.5 minutes' time. Mia Stower. In the meantime, because you know at the other end this will be happening. Goal number 57, Nelson. From 58 attempts, Rebellion, Dunkley now, when she's more confident, she'll turn and just deliver straight away. Little pump fake, but gets it into Buweta in the end.
As we see Newton come on to that goal defence position, Jodie Ann Ward to the bench.
Jodie Ann Ward has played a big role and put it in.
She certainly hasn't done anything wrong, has she, Will, to go to the bench, but I'm sure it's just to bring some fresh legs on.
Well, she's been running all day, hasn't she? So, fair enough. As Simpson, through Rebellion, looks for a way in. Still 6 goals, 6.5 now. As high flies Tip, I say Tippett again, Buweta. It's happening to me.
Well, it was an ambitious pass from Rebellion, but we know Gretel Buweta can get up for those high balls regardless of who's in front of her and who's behind her.
Some of the Pride Match ribbons on the floor get thrown out. As we head down now to Maddie Brown, who's keeping her eye on the Firebirds attack. How are they going to get through this? They're only 5 goals down now.
Well, you were just mentioning about Buweta's nice, strong hold in the goal circle, and it's because of a bit of a positional swap between the goal shooter and goal attack. So Stower's coming out, doing a lot more work out the front, allowing that dominance for Buweta in the circle. So continue to watch that attack in the Firebirds to see whether she obviously sinks back a little bit earlier.
Thanks, Mads. 4 goals, and they haven't been this close in quite a while. And there's Buweta.
They just need to be patient and play it safe.
40 seconds until the power 5. Would be handy to be at 3 goals when that happens. Wouldn't be forced to do anything drastic then, and they are at 3. 5.5. Buweta standing up in this one. 4-goal run for the Firebirds. 7 of the past 10 as well. So another one of these little runs. Can they make this one stick? The stoppage is going to take us into the power 5.
Oh.
If they just wait. And this is where this pair of shooters is going to look to take it by the scruff of the neck. Stower puts herself in range from way downtown and nearly makes it sink, but it doesn't matter in the end because no one but Buweta was there to pick up the rebounds. And a very important HCF tactical timeout as they move the Firebirds to within 2 goals. Well, 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 things have changed.
Bit of a deja vu for the Magpies, hey, as you said, from last week's game. Oh, the Fever game, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's listen in to what the Firebirds have to say.
We all got to step up really hard.
And then the drive.
And then we go to the box.
Yeah, so if we get caught out in first phase though, so if you go hard and it's a shutdown, you're out of pace, that's when you can do your swap, so that you just motor straight back into the circle and you can look to come out. But in all, we're just protecting Sinclair, right? So we just want to make sure that we're working around the front of the body, no too clean on the outside.
Let's go!
Let's go!
Great effort. I like you having to go now after the off and on. We're all working hard, okay? Reds is going to get into the circle. We need to work extra hard to get into the circle.
Yeah.
Let's go. Defensively, we're staying in play and we're getting
win the
Let's
ball.
go. Show up on 3. 1, 2, 3. Show up!
Well, this will be the great escape for the Queensland Firebirds if indeed they can pinch this one. They went down by a couple to the Vixens that had them close to dropping out of the 4 last week, and they take on the other Melbourne team. They're down by 2 again. Can the Firebirds make this one stick where they couldn't against the Vixens, or can the Magpies hold on and announce themselves as finals contenders as we head down now to Maddie Brown? And what did you hear, Maddie, in that huddle?
Well, Coach Nicole Richardson was pretty strong in her words. She said, right here, right now, this is going to define our season. I need 7 attackers. I need 7 defenders. So let's put in the work, stop standing still, and let's everyone lift to another level.
Let's see if they can find that level with 4 on the clock. The Suncorp super shot in play. Down goes Brown, in goes Nelson. We're back at 3. Under 4 minutes to go here at My State Bank Arena in Hobart. The Firebirds are in the lead of a quarter for the first time in this match. And through Buetta, they go back to a 2-goal game. 3:40 to play. Brown to Sinclair.
Contact Firebird centre, just there. Firebird.
What do you think here, Sharon?
Well, again, these kind of matches always just come down to who has the calm head, the leadership, and that's not how you do it.
Yeah, no, Brown and Simpson with the clash. Brown gets the ball back for her team, and we go back out to 4, do we? Yes. And possession. So it was the Magpies mid-court that made the errors last time in round 8, and this time the Firebirds are having a couple errors creep into their game, and suddenly Nelson puts it back at a 5-goal game, and the Firebirds are looking at 2-point shots at this point. Stour. Oh, took the step and gave herself nowhere to go, and Jovic keeps it in to Sinclair. Oh, that hurts, that one. That hurts the Firebirds. That's using all the 3 seconds, finds Ward, mentor.
Exactly what their coach, Nicole Richardson, wanted them to do, and they're following that instruction. There's not much you can do about that. Kim Jenner challenged. She almost got fingertips to that ball, but that ball is just going in so well to Nelson.
Nelson, 63 goals. Collingwood, 69. Plays the 63, and there's the Harvey Norman replay. And it just, when you take a step like that, Stour didn't give herself any time then to let the ball go. And it wasn't quite pinpoint. And Nelson will put them back at 7 now. So the reply coming, and as you said, Sharon, they're honouring Nicole Richardson's words. And it looks at this point like the Magpies will join the Firebirds on 16 competition points. As the ball dribbles out of court. Simona Nelson, 91 this net points, and why not Kelsey Brown with another stellar game. Add Molly Jovic to that list as well.
Great shot from Mia Stour. Just a little bit too late, unfortunately, for the Firebirds. They
Yes,
had their chances, they had their opportunities.
Well, how many times in the last few weeks have we seen a team further down the Suncorp Super Netball ladder best a team above them and cause what is an incredible ladder? If you want to go and look at it, it's anyone's at this point. The Fever, I think, champion data says, have a 99% chance of playing finals. The Lightning have a 7% chance, but you could throw a blanket over the rest of them. 15 seconds on the clock, 6 goals it is in the end, 17 goals apiece in this quarter. Make that 19-17 now to the Firebirds, but it is not going to be enough. And it is going to be the Collingwood Magpies, and Nelson nearly dunks her last one. Doesn't matter in the end, 71-67. And the Collingwood Magpies have done the job, held off several little runs from the Queensland Firebirds to really put themselves on the map as top 4 contenders, and indeed as premiership contenders in Suncorp Super Netball 2022.